Hi guys, this is Jennifer Dolander with the Dolander Learning Foundation and OGDyslexiaTutoring.com. I'm here today to talk to you about homework help, what you can do as parents to help your children with the homework issue. As a teacher, I don't like a lot of homework. I feel like kids work so hard throughout the day that it's really hard for them to come home and work for hours. And a good rule of thumb is your child should be working about 10 minutes per grade. So on homework. So if they're in first grade, about 10 minutes. Second grade, 20 minutes. Third grade, 30 minutes. They really should not be working more than that. If they're in second grade and they are working for hours upon end with tears, you need to contact the teacher. It's amazing. A lot of teachers will work with you, and they're very understanding. They don't want your child to suffer at home. But there are some things that you can do as a parent that will help with this homework struggle. So, number one, you've got to come up with a schedule. A schedule is so important. Have it written down. What works for one child is not going to work for the other child. One child might need to come home and get started right away on homework. Just get it done, and then that way they can go outside later. Another child may need to go outside and play or do something else for a few minutes before they get started on homework. Another child may need to take a lot of breaks. Their working time may be about 20 minutes. So every 20 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Decide what your child's schedule is. How do they work best? But the thing to remember, it really needs to be the same every single day. So whatever your child's schedule is, write it down. Work 20 minutes, 5-minute break. Let me talk about the break for just a minute. Breaks are important, but what they do during those breaks can be just as important. Breaking does not mean go play your video game for 5 minutes, because videos are intense, and it kind of, they can be addicting, as we know, and so 5 minutes on a video game is going to seem like 10 seconds to them. They're not going to want to stop. So I would recommend no video games during their homework breaks. That's just a good rule of thumb that I've found to be successful. A second thing that you want to implement is, it's called a Catchall Folder. And this folder ideally this folder needs to be transparent so you can see through it. And it is just that. It is a Catchall Folder. It is a folder that anything they get throughout the day, they stick it in the Catchall Folder. They know when they get home that night that you are going to sit down with them and organize that Catchall Folder. And all of those papers are going to go into the right spot. Where do these papers end up if you don't have a Catchall Folder? Yep, the bottom of the backpack. I call it the black hole. And so if I find kids, if I'm working with kids on organizational strategies, the first thing I do is I do the backpack dump. I literally take that backpack, unzip it, and dump it. Everything goes on the floor. It's a mess. Sometimes it's disgusting, and probably could be a science experiment, because oftentimes there will be food in there that's been in there for months, and it's really, really gross. But if your child if the backpack is a black hole, dump it. You've got to dump it. That's the first step. It's ugly, but once you do it, it usually gets better after that. So take breaks, organize your time, write it down. You've got to have a Catchall Folder. This is the folder where all those extra papers go into. One thing I want to bring up that a lot of parents have a hard time with, because we're adults. It's been a long time since we've been in elementary school. Elementary school has changed a lot. What they're doing in first grade now in elementary school, just a few years ago, they weren't doing until 3rd grade. So there's so much developmentally that I'm not sure is real appropriate for their age. But the teachers don't have a choice. We have to teach it. We have to teach what's being given to us. So these kids are tired. And I don't believe there are lazy children. I really don't. I don't believe there are lazy children. I don't believe there are bad children. If you have a child that's appearing lazy, appearing bad, something else is going on. Now, I'm not talking about the psychological issues that some children, unfortunately, are faced with. I'm talking about the kid that their brains are working extra hard, and we need to figure out what's going on. And these are those kids I'm talking about. Now, can we all have lazy moments? Absolutely. I do as well. But they are moments. It doesn't mean I'm a lazy person. And that is the same for your child. If your child's worked hard all day, they're going to be tired when they get home. It's not that they're lazy. So having that schedule and having them look at it and think, okay, this is manageable. I can do this. That's so important. It empowers them. It gives them structure and it strengthens them. Again, if your child is spending hours upon end on homework, please talk to your child's teacher. I can almost guarantee you if your child's teacher knew that they were spending hours a night in tears with homework, something needs to be done. That's not the basis behind homework. Homework is to practice what has already been taught. And 9 times out of 10, if you can do 10 problems correct, there's really not a need to do 50. So those are conversations that just have those conversations with your teachers. You know, your teacher is on board with you. They want to be your child's partner and with your child's education. And they don't want them in tears at night. So it's amazing what can be done through effective communication. And if your teacher doesn't know, if your child's teacher doesn't know they're at home in tears, crying, and spending hours per night on homework, they don't know. I always say, I don't know what I don't know. Please tell me. Please communicate. It's the number one thing I tell my parents. And all of my parents know that I give all my parents my cell phone number. I would rather them call me with a problem at 9 o'clock at night than try to sleep. And we know as parents, when there's a problem with our child, we can't sleep. We are only as happy as our most unhappy child, right? And that's so true. So your teacher wants them to be successful. And so communication is so important. So set up that schedule. Set up that structure. Dump that backpack and create a catch-all folder. And make sure every single day you sit down with your child and you file those papers in the right place. Don't expect a 2nd grader to be able to have these executive functioning skills to be able to do this. They are not developmentally ready for that. And we expect so often that our children, well, they need to be responsible and they need to do this. Well, you may think they need to do that, but they're developmentally not ready. They need you to be a partner in their education. So those are my biggest homework tips for you. Hopefully, I can't tell you how successful that catch-all folder is and how all of a sudden things are being turned in. Homework is being turned in. Papers that you never saw before, you will start seeing because the child doesn't shove it in their desk and they don't shove it at the bottom of their backpack. It goes in their special folder. You can call it whatever you want. I just like the catch-all folder because it literally catches all. It catches everything. So I hope these homework tips have been helpful for you, and let me know if you have any questions on our website. We have many workshops that are becoming available, and I look forward to working with you and your family. Go out and have a great day.